Alright, y'all, look, I know we react to a lot, but we got a crazy video. Basically, this is like Carl Jung. If y'all don't know this dude, he like, I don't know, for philosophers, like, psychiatrists, like, mind, he wanted to do that study the brain. This video is like, the life begins when you find yourself. So we want to know what find yourself really is, bro.
Imagine waking up one day with the unsettling realization that the life you've been living is not truly your own, that every decision you've made, every belief you hold, and even the desires that drive you may not have originated from the deepest part of who you are, but rather from the expectations, conditioning, and unseen influences of the world around you. Think about it. How much of your identity is a reflection of your authentic self, and how much of it is a carefully constructed mask shaped by external pressures? How often do you feel like you're just playing a role, living according to a script written by society, by your upbringing, or by the fears that whisper in the background of your mind? Today, we embark on an exploration of one of Carl Jung's most profound insights: the idea that life doesn't truly begin until you find yourself. But what does it mean to find yourself? Is it merely about gaining self-awareness, or is there a deeper, more transformative process at play? Stay with me, because as we uncover the hidden forces that shape your identity, you will come to see why most people never truly find themselves and how you can break free. The final realization we will discuss is the most powerful of all. It has the potential to shift not only the way you see yourself, but also the very way you engage with the world. Carl Gustav Jung was a pioneer of depth psychology, a thinker who ventured beyond traditional theories of the mind to explore the vast hidden realms of the unconscious. Unlike many psychologists of his time, Jung did not believe that mental well-being was simply about adjusting to societal norms. Instead, he saw psychological growth as a journey toward individuation, the process of becoming one's most authentic self. But here's the reality: most people never take that journey. They remain trapped within a version of themselves that has been shaped by external influences. They live according to expectations, never questioning whether the life they lead is truly aligned with who they are. They seek validation from the outside world, believing that happiness comes from approval, success, or fitting in. Yet, deep down,
if life had a picture and it had to be labeled as something to be cool, a lot of us would try to be that label of cool. That don't even fit our personality. I can get that's why we'll be lost. You know how you try to fit in. You know how everybody got a seat at a table in the lunchroom. Like, you trying to fit in at a table you don't belong. You gotta fit in. Don't. I love learning new shit.
down, there is a quiet unrest, an unshakable sense that something is missing. Jung believed that true life begins when we stop running from ourselves. But before we can talk about what it truly means to find yourself, we must first understand what prevents most people from ever doing so. From the moment we enter the world, we are conditioned. We are given names, identities, and predefined roles. We are taught what is acceptable and what is not, what is rewarded and what is punished. This process is so subtle and gradual that we rarely question it. We adapt, we conform, and over time we learn to suppress parts of ourselves that don't align with the expectations placed upon us. Think back to your childhood. Were there moments when you expressed yourself freely, only to be met with disapproval?
You don't pay no bills around this bitch. Not even that, just other shit outside of life. That's not right. Just people throwing their output on life on you, and you gotta believe that, cause it's authority. Just imagine somebody programming and tell you ketchup is bad for you, so you just stop eating ketchup. Now you finally taste ketchup and it's fire, like you went against it. That's just some little shit, like you was giving your name. This how you act, this how you behave. This was cool, what's not, this was bad, this was good, this is what you do. Everything is getting mapped out for you, G.
This process is so subtle and gradual that we rarely question it. We adapt, we conform, and over time we learn to suppress parts of ourselves that don't align with the expectations placed upon us. Think back to your childhood. Were there moments when you expressed yourself freely, only to be met with disapproval? Perhaps you were told to be realistic, to stop being too sensitive, or that certain emotions and desires were inappropriate.
I gotta stop doing that shit. I be telling my son he being sensitive. I be trying to toughen him up, but damn, you can't do that. Like, you know how you just cry for just small shit, like you say, "Why crayon broke?" And I be like, "Nah, nigga, just chill. It's a crayon." I can't do that. Gotta let a nigga express his emotions.
Childhood. Were there moments when you expressed yourself freely, only to be met with disapproval? Perhaps you were told to be realistic, to stop being too sensitive, or that certain emotions and desires were inappropriate. Slowly, you learned to hide those parts of yourself, to tuck them away where no one could see them. And in doing so, you began to build a mask, what Jung called the persona. The persona is the face we present to the world. It allows us to function in society, to navigate relationships, and to gain acceptance. But here's the problem. The more we identify with this mask, the more we lose touch with our real selves. We begin to believe that we are the persona, forgetting that there is something deeper beneath it. And then there's the other side of the coin, the shadow. If the persona is what we show the world, the shadow is what we hide from it.
Facts.
It consists of everything we have rejected or suppressed within ourselves, our fears, our unspoken desires, our vulnerabilities, and even our hidden strengths. And here's where it gets even more profound. The shadow doesn't just disappear. It doesn't vanish simply because we refuse to look at it. Instead, it operates beneath the surface, influencing our thoughts, our behaviors, and even our emotional reactions.
Facts.
The parts of ourselves that we reject don't go...
Facts, you know how you be getting to it with somebody, then all of a sudden they'll just explode. It's a lot of built up rage, a lot of built up thoughts, a lot of built up shit, and they bursting out.
Behaviors, and even our emotional reactions. The parts of ourselves that we reject don't go away. They manifest in unconscious ways, often in the form of projection. Have you ever intensely disliked someone without fully understanding why? Have you ever been triggered by certain behaviors in others that seem to provoke a strong emotional reaction? Jung believed that when we are disturbed by qualities in other people, it is often because those very qualities exist within us, hidden within our own shadow. But what if I told you that within this shadow lies the key to true self-discovery? That the parts of yourself you've suppressed and ignored are not your enemies, but rather the missing pieces of your wholeness. Jung's great insight was this. Psychological growth is not about eliminating the shadow. It is about integrating it. It is about looking into the depths of your own unconscious and facing what you have denied. Because when you do, you unlock a profound source of personal power, authenticity, and freedom. This is where the real journey begins. Are you ready to confront the truth of who you are? To break free from the illusions that have shaped you? Because what comes next will challenge everything you thought you knew about yourself, and it will open the door to a life that is truly yours. Most people go through life believing that they already know who they are. They define themselves by their name, their job, their culture, their past experiences. But what if I told you that your identity is far more complex than you realize? That the self you believe yourself to be is just a surface-level construct, a fraction of a much deeper, more profound reality. Carl Jung believed that within every individual there exists a hidden world, a vast and intricate inner landscape filled with forgotten memories, suppressed emotions, unacknowledged desires, and untapped potential. And the key to truly finding yourself is not in constructing a new identity, but in uncovering what has been buried within you. Let's take a moment to reflect. Have you ever felt a deep, unexplainable longing for something more?
Yeah.
A sense that there is a greater version of yourself waiting to emerge?
Fuck yeah, man. Like, man, this ain't, like, you know how you just be like, man, this ain't it, bro. Like, you be like, this ain't it, bro. I know I can do. You like, you know you can do fucking better. I know, bro.
This is not just imagination. It is the voice of your unconscious mind calling you to something greater. Jung referred to this process as individuation.
Picture this.
Shit supposed to be
saving up to 10% when you bundle your home and auto insurance with USAA. Some things just click.
He believed that true fulfillment comes not from conforming to external expectations, but from integrating all aspects of ourselves, the good, the bad, the light, and the dark. But before we can integrate these parts, we must first confront them. And this is where most
I'm sorry, y'all. Nigga, I've been in the gym, so like I'm looking at the results and nigga, I'm liking it, bro.
people stop. Why? Because facing yourself is uncomfortable. It requires looking at aspects of your personality that you have long ignored. It demands that you question long-held beliefs, challenge your fears, and confront the inner conflicts that have shaped your life. Think about it. How often do we avoid silence? How often do we distract ourselves with work, social media, entertainment, or anything that keeps us from sitting alone with our thoughts? This constant...
We never paid attention to that. Like, you just can't be, it can't just be quiet. Y'all notice how fast we run for some shit? But turn on the TV for what? Background noise. Why you need background noise for? And I used to do that shit all the time. Now it's fucking with me because I do it. I'll just be working on my computer, right? I'll turn on the TV for what? Background noise. You ain't never just had your phone off silent. No TV, no nothing. It's just been quiet. Them thoughts get to coming. Shit, it's good and bad. That's where you gotta find yourself. That's where you finna get into. Yeah.
Constant distraction is not accidental. It is a defense mechanism, a way of avoiding the deeper questions that linger beneath the surface. But no matter how much we try to avoid them, these hidden aspects of ourselves do not go away. They show up in unexpected ways, through anxiety, self-sabotage, unfulfilling relationships, or a persistent feeling.
Unfulfilling relationships, meaningless partners. I'll fall in there for sure, nigga. Self-sabotage is another one too. I don't know what the fuck I be doing.
Anxiety, self-sabotage, unfulfilling relationships, or a persistent feeling of being lost. Jung believed that our unconscious mind is always speaking to us, but we have learned to ignore its messages. However, if we start paying attention, we begin to see patterns. We begin to notice how our deepest wounds influence our choices, how our suppressed desires shape our behaviors, and how the things we fear most often hold the greatest lessons. Let's consider a simple yet powerful example: fear of rejection. Many people go through life terrified of being judged or abandoned. They seek approval, avoid conflict, and suppress their true thoughts to maintain harmony. But where does this fear...
Yeah, I hold some shit in, bro. I feel a certain way, and I know you ain't gonna like what I say, so I just hold this shit in.
come from? Is it really about the opinions of others, or does it stem from something deeper, perhaps an old wound, an experience from childhood, a moment when they felt unseen or unworthy? Jung would argue that this fear is not just an emotion, it is a shadow aspect of the self that has not been fully acknowledged. And until it is brought into the light, it will continue to control one's actions from behind the scenes. But here's the incredible thing. When we finally face these hidden parts of ourselves, they lose their power over us. Imagine for a moment what it would feel like to live without fear of judgment, to speak your truth without hesitation, to make decisions not based on what others expect, but on what resonates deeply within you. This is the power of individuation. It is not about becoming someone new, it is about becoming more of who you truly are. But how do we begin? How do we uncover the unconscious forces that shape our lives? Jung believed that one of the most powerful ways to access the unconscious is through symbols, dreams, and introspection. He saw dreams as messages from the deeper self, revealing hidden truths about our psyche. He also emphasized the importance of creative expression, art, writing, music, and other forms of self-exploration as ways of accessing and integrating the unconscious mind. But perhaps the most important step...
Mine's been music. Lately, I've been freestyling this shit. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro.
Revealing hidden truths about our psyche. He also emphasized the importance of creative expression, art, writing, music, and other forms of self-exploration as ways of accessing and integrating the unconscious mind. But perhaps the most important step is simply this: awareness. The moment you begin to question your thoughts, your reactions, and your deeply held beliefs, you are already taking the first steps toward transformation. The moment you stop running from discomfort and start facing it with curiosity, You begin to reclaim your true self. Because here's the truth. Most people live their entire lives as strangers to themselves. They follow the paths laid out for them, never realizing that they have the power to choose something different. They suppress their true nature, never realizing that their greatest strength lies in embracing all that they are. But you don't have to be one of those people. You have the power to break free from the illusions that have held you back, to shed the layers of conditioning and fear that have kept you from experiencing life fully, to step into the fullness of who you are, unafraid and unapologetic. And in the next part, we are going to explore something even more profound, the hidden archetypes within you. These ancient patterns, buried deep in your psyche, hold the key to unlocking your greatest potential. What you are about to learn may change.
And look, we had to look at this shit like it was weird. Like somebody would literally find this shit weird. But it's like, who else talking about how to unlock your mind? This man just spoke my goddamn life. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Change the way you see yourself forever. If the journey to finding yourself were as simple as making a decision, everyone would already be living in complete alignment with their true nature. But as we've seen, the process is far more complex. It is not just about choosing who we want to be, it is about uncovering the forces that have shaped us, facing the parts of ourselves we have rejected, and integrating them into a whole, authentic identity. But here's a question. Why do we feel drawn to certain behaviors, desires, or fears? Why do we repeat the same mistakes or fall into the same patterns even when we try to change? Carl Jung's answer was revolutionary.
Why we be like, we not finna do this, like it's the almost New Year's, like we be like, we not finna do this no more. And continue to do it when we know we shouldn't do it. Why?
He believed that within every human being, there exist universal patterns, deep-rooted psychological blueprints that influence our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors in ways we often do not fully understand. He called these patterns archetypes. Jung argued that archetypes are ancient, collective images stored in what he called the collective unconscious, a level of the psyche shared by all human beings, inherited from the experiences of our ancestors. These archetypes shape our personal identity, our relationships, and even the way we perceive the world. Think about the stories that have been told throughout history: the hero's journey, the wise mentor, the shadowy villain, the innocent child. These characters appear in myths, religions, literature, and even in our dreams. They are not just fictional. They represent psychological forces that exist within all of us. And whether we realize it or not, these archetypes are constantly at play in our lives. For example, consider the hero archetype. This is the part of you that longs for purpose, that feels called to something greater. It is the part of you that seeks to overcome obstacles, grow stronger, and achieve a higher version of yourself. But this archetype does not exist in isolation. It is always accompanied by the shadow. The shadow, as we discussed earlier, represents the repressed and hidden aspects of the self. It is the part of you that contains your fears, your weaknesses, and even your untapped potential. In myths, the hero must confront the shadow, often symbolized as a monster, an enemy, or a great challenge, before they can truly evolve. Now, let's bring this into real life. Have you ever had a moment when you knew you needed to change, but something inside you resisted? A time when you had the opportunity to step into a greater version of yourself, but fear, doubt, or self-sabotage held you back. This is the battle between the hero and the shadow playing out within you. The mistake most people make is trying to suppress the shadow instead of understanding it. But Jung believed that true transformation happens when we integrate the shadow, not by rejecting it, but by learning from it. Let's say you struggle with self-doubt. Instead of ignoring it or pretending it doesn't exist, Jung would encourage you to ask, where does this self-doubt come from? Is it truly yours, or was it planted in you by past experiences, societal expectations, or the voices of others? What lessons does it hold? Could it be that within your doubt there is actually a hidden strength, such as humility, introspection, or the ability to see things from multiple perspectives? When we begin to see our struggles not as weaknesses, but as messages, from the unconscious, everything changes. But archetypes go beyond just the hero and the shadow. There are many other forces within us, each with its own role in shaping our identity. One of the most powerful is the anima, and animus archetype.
Animus.
Jung believed that within every man there exists a hidden feminine side, the anima, and within every woman there exists a hidden masculine side, the animus. These are not about gender in the physical sense, but about the balance of energies within us. The anima represents intuition, emotion, creativity, and deep connection with the unconscious. The animus represents logic, structure, discipline, and assertiveness. When these two forces are in balance, a person feels whole, but when they are out of balance, inner conflict arises. For example, a man who rejects his anima may struggle with expressing emotions, fearing vulnerability as a weakness. A woman who rejects her animus may struggle with asserting herself, feeling hesitant to take control of her own life. But when these energies are embraced rather than suppressed, they become a source of immense strength. And this leads us to one of the most important truths Jung discovered. To find yourself, you must embrace all parts of yourself, the light and the dark, the masculine and the feminine, the known and the unknown. Individuation is not about becoming something different. It is about becoming whole. But there is one final piece to this puzzle, one last revelation that ties everything together, and it is perhaps the most powerful of all. Because the greatest obstacle to finding yourself is not just fear, or self-doubt, or external conditioning. It is something far deeper, something hidden in the very fabric of how we perceive reality itself. And in the next part, we are going to uncover it. What you are about to hear will challenge everything you thought you knew about yourself, and it may just change your life forever. Throughout this journey, we have explored the hidden forces shaping your identity, the masks you wear, the shadow you suppress, and the archetypes influencing your thoughts and behaviors. But now we must confront the deepest illusion of all, the illusion of self. You see, most people go through life assuming that their identity is fixed, that they are a single, unchanging self that moves through time, shaped by memories and experiences. But Jung, along with many great philosophers and mystics, understood something radical. The self is not a static entity, it is fluid, ever-changing, and far greater than we have been led to believe. What if the version of you that you identify with right now is only a fragment of something much larger? What if the person you think you are is just one expression of a limitless consciousness that has been evolving for centuries, across lifetimes, through inherited wisdom and experience? Jung explored this idea through the concept of the self, not the small ego-driven self that clings to labels and fears, but the true self, the totality of who you are beyond the illusions of identity. And this realization is both liberating and terrifying, because it means that everything you have believed yourself to be, all the fears, the limitations, the stories you tell yourself, is not the full truth. It is merely a construct, a temporary framework built by the mind. And here's the most powerful truth of all. You are not just a single, isolated being moving through life. You are a vast, interconnected field of consciousness, carrying within you the wisdom of generations, the depth of the unconscious, and the potential for transformation that is beyond imagination. But if this is true, then why do we feel so limited? Why do we experience suffering, doubt, and fear? The answer lies in the ego. The ego is not the enemy. It is simply the part of the mind that creates a sense of separation. That is the voice in your head that says, this is who I am and this is who I am not. It builds walls, defines borders, and keeps you tethered to familiar patterns. And while the ego serves a purpose, it is also the greatest obstacle to self-discovery. Because in truth, you are not limited to a single identity. You are a being in constant evolution. And the moment you stop clinging to the idea of who you think you are, you unlock infinite possibilities. But how do you do this? How do you step beyond the illusion of self and into the fullness of your existence? Jung offered a path, one that requires courage, deep introspection, and a willingness to surrender everything you thought you knew about yourself. First, embrace the unknown. Most people fear the unknown because it represents uncertainty, but the unknown is where growth happens. It is where transformation occurs. When you stop resisting the mysteries within you and instead lean into them with curiosity, you begin to see the world and yourself with new eyes. Second, release attachment to labels. You are not just your name. You are not just your job, your past, or your personality. You are something far beyond definition. When you let go of rigid identities, you create space for something greater to emerge. Third, Listen to the unconscious. Your dreams, your instincts, your deep intuitions, they are not random. They are messages from the self guiding you toward wholeness. The more you tune in, the more you will begin to recognize patterns, synchronicities, and signs that lead you toward your true path. And finally, surrender to the process. Finding yourself is not a destination. It is not something you achieve and then forget about. It is an ongoing journey, an unfolding of deeper and deeper layers of truth. And here's the ultimate revelation. You were never truly lost. You have always been here. The self you have been seeking has been within you all along, waiting to be remembered. So now, the choice is yours. Will you continue living as a fragment of who you truly are, bound by old fears and illusions? Or will you step forward into the unknown, embracing the vast, limitless being that you were meant to become? Because life does not truly begin until you find yourself. And now, you know the way. Thanks for looking.
Nigga said thanks for looking. How y'all feel about that video? That video was deep. I be liking it. We gotta unlock our mind, bro. We don't be knowing shit. Shit, it's like a therapist. Like, you know how they throw a disease on you? It's like, the mind can throw that shit on you, bro. You don't know how to drive that boat, you crashing for sure. So I like little shit like that. And like, y'all let me know y'all thoughts on that.